Hello, good evening, and warm welcome at the Thinking Palette platform. In this video of Simply Explained series, today I will deal with Article 31A, 31B, and 31C. It is not very difficult to understand but very complex to comprehend these articles. So we will look into that what are these articles all about and why these articles have been incorporated in the constitution through different amendment. But before understanding the Article 31A, 31B, and 31C, we will have to understand the history of right to property from constitutional perspective. So now moving to the understanding of Article 31A, B, and C. But before that, we will understand Article 19, Clause 1, Clause F, and Article 31. Then we will move to 44th Amendment Act. Then right to compensation provision under Article 30 and 31A. Okay, so now the very first thing is Article 19, Clause 1, Clause F. This article says that everyone has a right to acquire or hold the land. And Article 31 says that no one can be deprived of their property. Okay, so basically, this is a kind of fundamental right. These fundamental rights under Article 19, Clause 1, Clause F, and Article 31 has been repealed after 44th Amendment Act. So basically, 44th Amendment Act had changed the characteristic of right to property from fundamental rights to legal rights and constitutional right. Okay, but even today there are certain provision in the constitution which deals with the right to property but in a very different sense. So we will look into that. So now here it is a mentioning of Article 30 and 31A. Today the state can take your property. Okay, very sure that the state can take your property. But if the state is taking your property, then the state needs to give you compensation. Then the question arises that what are the different provisions under which the state needs to give you compensation. These provisions are mentioned in Article 30 and 31A. Okay, so now Article 30 says that if a state is taking your property that is of minority educational institution, then state needs to compensate. Likewise, if the state is taking your property which is within a statutory limit, then also a state needs to compensate you. So now the question, what is the statutory limit? For example, there is a Land Ceiling Act. Okay, this Land Ceiling Act says that you cannot acquire the land beyond a permissible limit, and these limit will be defined by the different state acts. For example, in Bihar, you cannot acquire the land beyond 7.28 hectares. Likewise, in Karnataka, you cannot acquire land beyond 8 hectares. Okay, but the question is, can state take your property only when you are breaching these limits? No, a state can take your land even you are not breaching the Land Ceiling Act, but in that case a state needs to compensate you. Okay, so this is the basically the idea or the journey of right to property. Now, Article 31A, B, and C. Basically, there are certain exemptions or there are certain provisions which have been incorporated in the Constitution, which is an exception to the fundamental right. So, we will now look into Article 31A, B, and C. Its different clauses, what are those clauses, and how they are exceptions to the fundamental rights. So, now what are these articles all about? If I ask you this question, then the simple answer to you is these are the exception to the fundamental right. So now what do you understand by exception? It simply means that even if these clauses or even if the law enacted under Article 31 BC has infringed your fundamental rights, Article 1419, then also you cannot go to the Supreme Court. Understood? These are the exceptions because you all know that Article 32 gives you right to directly approach the Supreme Court in the case of breach of fundamental fundamental rights. Now the question arises, why these are exceptions given in the constitution? Because these are the exceptions which has been introduced to ensure social justice. Now you will say, how it will ensure social justice? Sir, how it will ensure economic equality? So basically you will understand this once we proceed in our discussion, and also I can give you glimpse to understand that. For example, Jamindari Abolition Act and Land Ceiling Act. Basically, whenever you will look into the idea behind this act, then you will understand that the idea was to ensure the equality in the distribution of the land. So basically, this is a kind of social justice. This is a kind of ensuring income equality. So basically, these are the exceptions which has been provided, so that you cannot go to the Supreme Court again and again that my right under Article 14 and 19 has been violated. Understood? Now, what is this Article 31A? Basically, this Article 31A talks about that under Article 31A, there are certain provisions. We will look into the provisions. There are 5 different provisions. Okay. For example, the provisions are acquisition of estates, taking over management of the property, amalgamation of corporation, and modification in the right of directors of the corporation, and modification of the rights of mine owners. For example, now what happens that if a state is making any law with respect to acquisition of estates, with respect to management of the property, then you cannot go to the Supreme Court that my right under Article 14 and 19 is violated. So basically, the law created for this purpose is immune from the fundamental rights violation. Now, one thing which I want to add here, which is not mentioned in the Lakshmikant, for example, here the parliament, if only parliament is making law with respect to this provision, then only its validity is ensured. But if a state legislature is making any law with respect to these different provision, then it is valid only when it is presented for the president assent, or it got president assent. This is important to remember. Okay. So now the crux is Article 31 has different clauses, and a state can make the law with respect to these clauses, and even if that law infringes your fundamental right under Article 14 and 19, you are not going to the Supreme Court, because these are exception to the fundamental rights. Now, coming to Article 31B. Now, what is this article? Article 31B. You will have to understand Article 31B only when you can understand that what is ninth schedule. Ninth schedule is the schedule where the law which has been enacted by the parliament, and if kept under the ninth schedule, then it is immune from judicial review. What is the meaning of immune from judicial review? It simply means that that law cannot be challenged in the judges, or cannot be challenged before the court. Okay. So now what is this article? This article, basically Article 31B, shapes such categories of the law which has been placed under ninth schedule. And this schedule and Article 31B has been inserted through First Amendment Act 1951. Okay. So now what the government can do? Government can increase the number of laws enacted and putting it under the ninth schedule, so that it is immune from the judicial review. But now the question arises, don't you think that it is against the idea of justice? Basically, it is giving a omnipotent right to the parliament to enact the law, and even its validity cannot be questioned. So this is not justified in a democracy. Understood? So now, moving to why this article is so important. This article is so important, it is because when the 31B has been enacted and the ninth schedule has been enacted, there were only 13 laws which have been placed under ninth schedule. But now Today, there are 228 laws which have been placed under 9th schedule. So, even if these 282 laws is violating your fundamental rights, you are not approaching to the Supreme Court because they are immune from judicial review. So, basically, this is the breach of fundamental rights indirectly. Therefore, the Supreme Court in Iyer Coelho versus State of Tamil Nadu case has said that the purpose of 9th schedule and Article 31B was not to immune and was not to overpower the parliamentary law. Therefore, the Supreme Court has said that all the laws which have been enacted after 24th April 1973 will not be immune from judicial review. It simply means that the laws which have been enacted after this date will come before the court and court will look into its validity. Understood? Now, this is the Article 31C. Now, why we are looking into this Article 31C? But before that, we will have to understand that what are the different features or what is the relation between 31C and DPSP. Just to make you understand, there is 39B and 39C. This is the article which is mentioned in DPSP. What is this article all about? Article 39B says that there should be equitable distribution of resources. Okay, and Article 39 says there should not be concentration of the wealth. Okay, now understood? Now, if a state or the parliament, state legislature or the parliament is making the law to enforce this Article 39B and 39C, and even if this enforcement or even if this law is violating Article 14 and 19, that law will not be considered as a void. Okay, then Article 31C has been introduced by 25th Amendment or 25th Amendment Act. This article says that any law which has been enacted by the parliament and state legislature, in order to enforce this 39B and 39C, even if it infringed 14 and 19, will not be considered as void. Understood? So this is all about Article 31A, 31B and 31C. I think that you are understanding the complexity of this article, and in the next video I will come with another complex topic with respect to the